Hi and welcome to Jeremy's Tech Channel, and today we're going to talk about what makes KDE so great. In the final video of this series of looking at 4 desktop environments, we're going to look at my favorite so far. It's KDE. Now KDE stands for K Desktop Environment, or Cool Desktop Environment with a K. So they decided to put a K with cool, and that's how you get KDE. Now KDE has been around for a while, and back 15 years ago when I first started my first go at Linux, it was definitely one of the more full-featured desktop environments even back then, but it was heavy on the resources. But they were working through and experimenting with a lot of visual effects and trying to pushing some things forward that really didn't appeal to me at the time. But now what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at KDE, and we're going to look at it from 3 ways: how configurable it is and customizable. How does the workflow work for us? Is it something that's intuitive? Is it something that works within our own workflow? And what's the resources that it takes to run it? Today we're going to take a look with KDE Neon, and then I'm going to show you Garuda Linux, and it's a pretty customized version of KDE. So you'll get a sense of what you get pretty close out of the box and what someone's done and their vision of how to use this. So first, what I want to do is I want to take a look at top and see what resources are being used. Here we are, we're just idling here, and 644 megabytes are being used. Now, XFCE, the 2 versions that we looked at were around 550 to 580. So this isn't much more than that. And GNOME and Cinnamon desktops were definitely using significantly more resources. But I want to show this to you. If you decide to use their system monitor in and of itself uses a fair amount of resources right there. Now it's nice and clean and gives you what you need, but that kind of gives you a sense of how KDE works. My personal KDE system idles around 2.5 gigabytes, and that's because I like to add stuff. I like a lot of monitoring. I like a lot of things being started by default, and my computer, my system can easily handle that. So that's not a non-issue. But I did want to show you KDE is a pretty lightweight distribution now. No, it's definitely not lightweight at all. But in comparison to like GNOME, just starting out, it doesn't use that much resources. Now, getting around KDE is quite simple. You know, you've got your classic, and you do have your window maximize and minimize buttons here. And you have your show desktop button as well. Super easy. KDE Neon uses the KDE Software Center. It's great. I personally like the layout of this. I'm sure on the back end, some people don't like this, but for me personally, I do like the layout of this, and it's very clean to my eyes. KDE has a lot of its own applications that are available. I want to take my face off the screen for a second so that it's easier to see these menu pieces here. Your classic notifications, power management. When you plug in a device like a USB drive, it pops up here. Clipboard, night color control. This is the super cool piece here. KDE Connect is great. I have an iPhone, and KDE Connect was originally designed to work with Android, but what I can tell you is they have the beta version right now for iPhone, and it's super cool. You have to download Test Flight on your iOS device, and then you can download KDE Connect on there. And I haven't noticed many issues with it at all. I have transferred files over from my phone onto my desktop because I've done some recording with my phone. And KDE Connect works great with an iPhone as well as what I'm hearing with Android because I don't have an Android phone. The other piece here I like in KDE is the layout of audio devices here. You've got your applications that are having audio running and then your actual audio devices. Obviously, there's some updates here for KDE Neon. This is sitting on my virtual machine, and that's something that I can handle soon. Now, what sets KDE apart from others is they tried to give you every possible option in their menu. So the beauty of it is that you have all these customizable options. The downside is that you have so much to work through and sift through. And if you don't know what you're looking for, it might be hard to find. But I would say that's not necessarily completely the case because you have this great search function. If I want to look at icons, I can type icons, and there are the icons, colors, plasma style, all of those things. And then you have a global thing that controls, and if it's set up a certain way, can come through and be seen here. So right now it's on the basic Breeze theme. If I want to change the Breeze dark theme, everything is squared away. If you want new themes, you can go and download these themes. Here they are. Now I'm not going to, one of my earlier videos, I found an XP. I found an XP theme, and it was pretty nasty, guys. But I wanted to show if you really wanted to make it look like something different, you can. So I'm going to grab this Lay-In Light KDE theme, and I'm going to install it. So I've installed this theme here, and we're going to apply it. And now everything, the window, the transparency, the bar, the icons, it's all changed right there. And right-clicking, you can configure desktop and wallpaper, configure your display settings, refreshing your desktop. You can add widgets, super easy widgets. And these widgets don't necessarily have to go on the desktop. They can go right down here on the bar as well. Pretty cool. System monitor sensor. Great, I want to put you right here, system monitor sensor. Let's configure system monitor sensor. Let's load a preset. I want to check out memory usage, apply, okay. And there we go. I gave this machine, this virtual machine, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it's using 1.2. Now I can see that. Configuring not only your wallpaper, but some other pieces when you click on that menu item, which is great. Apply, and it changes it. That gave you a sense with KDE Neon. So next I wanted to show you another distribution, an Arch-based distribution, Garuda Linux. And they took the KDE theming and configurability and made something truly unique to my eyes. It feels different, the workflow is different, and this is what makes me love KDE so much, is if I get tired of a certain workflow or a way I want things laid out, I can download a theme or I can get inspired by, like what this team did here, the Garuda team. It keeps me inspired to keep moving on and looking and learning. And I know, how does a desktop environment even do that, Jeremy? Wake up, man. But for so many years, I used Windows, and for so many years, I used Mac. The ability to shift and change really has opened my eyes to learning and growing and looking what's under the hood a little more. I didn't think I'd be using the terminal as much as I have, but thanks to me wanting to grow in this space, I've learned a lot. So here is Garuda Linux, and as you can see, the layout is completely different. Now, if you just peel back a little bit, you've got you know, some sort of dock down here that is very Mac-like. You have a taskbar up here, which is very Mac-like. But there is just some cool configuration pieces. Look, you still have the same KDE applications available. There's KDE Connect, there's the clipboard, there's the notifications, there's the disk and devices, but you know, they added in their system maintenance tool. They added in display configuration. And then their menu that they chose right here is a very simple, straightforward menu. Now, this look may not be something that you find pleasing to your eyes. Some of you guys might be drooling. Some of you might be going, my eyes, my eyes. But once again, that's what's beautiful about Linux. Now you're able to see what's going on here, but then I'm also going to run, I bet this one's got HTOP on it. And it does. This one, idling here, is sitting at 1.15 gigabytes, which is right in line with what GNOME was using. I think it was 1.2, the one we looked at yesterday. When you start to add some of these visuals and pieces, you can do some funky things with KDE. Some visuals that are honestly pretty stinking cool. But when you start to add on these pieces that you might like visually, it's going to add and take away some of your resources. The Garuda team has really made something unique to themselves, and I'm guessing people are attracted to this distribution not only because it really does a cool job of, if you're a gamer, if you're into performance as far as they have the Zen kernel. They just really tweak some things to try to get the most out of someone trying to game. This is a cool distribution for that. I'm guessing some people just really like just having those visuals. Oh, and the setup process with Garuda is quite simple. They have essentially, once you do the basic install, they have an extra set of menu items to download and help get these software pieces right up front. And with an Arch-based system, that is pretty nice. The last piece I want to show you is you'll look on my personal desktop, and I want to show a couple of the desktop effects that they have available. And I think these are crazy, and some people like the way it looks. I don't necessarily feel like it helps my workflow, but it's not necessarily in my way either. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop, and I'm going to add some translucency. And that happens when apply. It happens when you click on the window and you want to move it so you can see what's behind it. You can see that happening there, which is cool. You can also add wobbly windows, which impressed my sixth grader to no end. But for me, whatever. They've got this magic lamp thing when you're minimizing windows. It looks very Mac to me. And here is fall apart. I've not seen this one. Closed windows fall into pieces. Okay. Okay. But that's exactly what I like about KDE. Obviously, the windows falling apart and breaking into pieces is something that I don't care too much about. But someone else may just really like that for one reason or another. You have the option here. KDE is so much about options. You can have yourself running at a pretty lightweight situation for the amount of options you have for a full feature desktop, or you can bloat it out, if you will, and use as much as you'd like. You can tweak this visually to your heart's content, and that's why I love KDE. Now, who knows, 6 months from now, I may switch to GNOME or XFCE or Cinnamon Desktop, or something new may come along. The Cosmic Desktop is something that interests me. That's something that the System 76 team with Pop! OS is using. Who knows? But for now, love me some KDE. See you next time.